So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the steps that you will need to complete in order to create a test in Performance Matters. So the first thing you need to do is you need to go onto the Staff Portal website and find Performance Matters. I'm going to click on it, and it is going to ask you to sign in. So you're going to use the password that you have created in Performance Matters, which is might be different from the password you use to sign in to your computer. Okay, so you're going to agree to the policy, and you're going to choose the school if it's asking you to choose one. So I teach in a high school, so I'm going to select high school. Okay, so this is going to be the main screen that it takes you. So if you notice, there's three options here. So you can either have pictures, you can have little descriptions, which I think are the best because you can quickly see what each one gives you, and then you can have just the titles. So I'm going to select this one. So this right here is progress monitoring, so this is where you would go to look at the results and compare. Now we actually are creating a new test, so we need to be in SAM. Now there's two ways to get there. So you have some icons here. A+ is the progress monitoring, which is what's open here. The next one is the SAM. This is what you use to create a new test. And you have some other options. Now what you can also do is go to modules here on the left and select SAM right here. I like this a little better because it actually has the name instead of the icon. So again, I'm going to choose this option so it gives me a little description. So you are going to first create a test, and then once the test is created, we are going to create a test event. So we start here on the top. So you click on the test. And what you'll see is you'll see a list of tests that have been created already. And we are going to create a new test, so we're going to click here. And as soon as you get to this to the screen, you want to be looking for this little gear that's going to take you to more advanced options. It takes a little bit, takes a while to have it loaded, but then as soon as it appears, we're going to click on it. So this gear right here. So it will allow us to use advanced test header. Okay, so if you see, you have a lot more options. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to type in a test name, and you might want to discuss with the department a standard naming, so then it's easy to find your test. I'm just going to call it a test sample. The search tag is something that you can use in order to find the test quickly. So for example, I'll use the word sample, so when I type it in later on, if I'm looking for this test, it'll come up. For the grades, I usually choose all for grades, so we're not limited to finding the test or who's taking it. So the threshold and mastery are going to be determining which scores show up as red, which ones show up as green. So it doesn't really matter. It's your own personal preference, but since 60 is a passing grade, I would say the threshold should be 60. So anybody who got below 60 will appear as red on your summary results. And then mastery, I would say anybody who got above 80% generally has a good understanding of the material. Our test generator method is just going to be manual answer key, and you could just say none because that's the only option for the assessment category. Now for the course subject is going to be whichever subject you're teaching, so whether it's art, English, or history. So since I teach math, I'm going to select math. I'm not going to worry about the state test, but this is something that you can correlate your test to. So this is important. So the answer source is going to be external, and it is a Lexmark machine. So external Lexmark. The form is going to be the blank form that you will get to give to your students to take the test. So if you notice, you only have few options. So you have 15, 30, 60, 100, or 200. So for example, if you're giving a test with 34 questions, you want to go with 60 item test to make sure you have enough bubbles. If you have exactly 30, then you could just select 30. So I'll pick 30, but you can select anything. You want to make sure you don't have, you want to make sure you have enough bubbles. So whatever the number is, you just go to the one above it. So if you have 12 item tests, then you're going to select 15 item test form. Okay. Now here you can change this up a little bit. So if you have 4 choices, you can select A, B, C, D. If you have 5 choices, you can select A, B, C, D. So I'm going to stop here. Now the number of questions is whatever your test has. So I'll say I have, let's say, 29 questions. And then I'm going to save. So once you save the test, you'll see a little box pop up that says the test creation is complete. So, and then a little red message here. So that's how you know that you did it correctly. Now once you save the test, now you have an option to generate an answer key that wasn't there before. So I'm going to go here. And you're going to generate it, and then if you notice now it turns into view answer key, so I can actually change it. Okay, and basically what you're going to do here is you're just going to type in the answer. Now this is something that you could do later on after printing up bubble sheets, but you want to make sure that you have an answer key in the system before you actually score the test, because otherwise it's not going to know what's correct, what's not correct. So I'm just going to type in A. It doesn't matter if it's uppercase or lowercase, it doesn't make a difference. So you can also come back here and change answers. So for example, if you realize that you wrote the wrong answer on the answer key, you can actually come back here and change this. Alright, so once I have all the answers entered, I'm going to save. And then you'll see a little box saying that it has been saved. And that's it. So there's really, so it says save or reset. Now, and then if you notice, you can also add questions. So if you, let's say, change your mind and said instead of 29, you actually want to do 30, you can actually come back here and enter a 30th question if you'd like. Or you can also delete some questions. So you could just use these little red X's to delete questions once you created the answer key. Okay. So once you have created a test, you can now create a test event where you're going to say when the test is actually given out and who will take the test. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to close all these windows. If you notice, I have a lot of tabs open. So what I like to do is I like to just kind of close them to start off fresh. So I'm going to go back to Sam. I'm going to choose this middle option. So we finished with the test. We're going to create a test event. You can also do this from here. So I'll show you how to do it from the test, because this is the same place you would come back to change your answers. Okay, so now my test is somewhere in this list. So what I could do is I can type in my filter word and say filter. And this is the first one is my test sample that I created. So I could verify that I created this on this date and I was the creator. If you didn't include a search tag. You can also just use the fact that it's a math test and that it was given out to grades 9, 10, 11, 12, but you'll just have to search a little longer. Okay, so my test is the first one in a row, and if you notice I have a few options here. So my answer key, this is where I can view or edit the answer key, so if you have made a mistake and you would like to come back and change an answer, you would come back here, find the test, and then you would edit the answer key. Now what I need to do is I need to create a test event. So I'm going to create a test event. And it doesn't have a lot of options, but they're important. So you want to make sure that you give yourself a nice window of test taking. So you might have students who are out on home instruction. So I think like a month is usually a good idea. So for example, if I know I'm going to be giving the test sometime this week, I would select Monday as the first day, and then I would select December 6th maybe as the end date, but it doesn't, you could make it 2 month, 3 month, whatever you'd like it to be. There's really nothing here. However, over here, you want to make sure that you select online scoring. You can use online scoring to change answers that the machine read. You can also type in answers if you have a student who took the test later on. So this is a good option. Well, it's a necessary option to pick. So it's online scoring, and you want to be able to use online scoring for all question types. So you're going to save. And now that your test event has been saved, you can actually select the population. So I'm going to click on select population. You could just select the whole high school. You do not have to go and find your name and find your classes, because when you have to go to the Lexmark machine and print out your bubble sheets, it will ask you to select your classes there anyways. So you could just say select the whole high school. So save, and I'll say Montgomery High School, and my test is released so my students can start taking it. And there you go. Okay, so your test has been created, your test event has been created, and now you're ready to go to the Lexmark machine and print out your bubble sheets.